Hey y'all, thank you for watching. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about the Soundpeats Opera 5 that is currently in Kickstarter. They were nice enough to send these out to me, so I've got to listen to them for the past few weeks, and so I'm going to be talking about build quality. The build quality is where this set of earbuds struggles a little bit. There's a lot of really good things about this, but some of the areas that I did not like, most of them were with the case itself. The first thing that you get is that the case is a little bit, I don't know, like when you first get it and you first take it out, it seems nice, but if you put it against something like the Apple AirPods, I've got the second generation version of the Apple AirPods, you can start to see the difference in the quality of the craftsmanship of them. The AirPods are very small. They're very svelte. They fit really well in your pocket. Just the kind of thing that you can put in your pocket and forget. And when you open the top of them, it just feels solid. It feels almost like heavy. It just feels like something that is going to last you a very long time. And it just kind of becomes an accessory that feels kind of part of your pocket. It's the last thing I pick up. It used to be keys, wallet, and cell phone, and the Apple AirPods Pro 2 have become that other thing that goes in my pocket, and it's so small, and the way that they created it without all the hard edges and stuff, it just became something that kind of just fit in my pocket and was very easy and relaxed to keep in there. When you look at the build quality of the new Soundpeats, at first it's really cool looking. It's got this gold band that goes around it. Especially at a glance, it looks very high quality. But upon further inspection, the top is a little bit creaky. When you open it, it feels a little plasticky. The band around the edge definitely feels plasticky. And just in general, you can tell that it's not up to the kind of build quality that you would get with like an Apple product. When you open and shut it, it just, moves around a little bit. Now, in terms of the actual use of the equipment, it doesn't really hurt anything, but in the sense of just picking it up and feeling like you're holding a premium product, unfortunately, you can tell they put a lot of work into this, but it still doesn't give you that kind of premium feel like an AirPods Pro 2 does. So if I was giving some feedback to the company, I would say get something like an Apple product and just literally hold it in your hands, look at the differences on it, and try to work on those minor details that make the difference between something feeling premium and something feeling like it's just trying to be premium. I think part of it is the sense of balance. When you hold the AirPods Pro 2, it feels it's about the same amount of heaviness regardless of which side that you hold it. And when you hold the Soundpeats, it's very heavy on the bottom and it's very light on the top. It's also much bigger, just in terms of like if you try to put this in your pocket, just how much bigger and it may not look like a huge amount, but in your pocket, it's the difference between forgetting about something and kind of feeling it in your pocket. Like if I just want to go somewhere, I take the AirPods Pro 2 and I forget that it's in my pocket. If I take the Soundpeats product, when I take it, I always remember that it's in my pocket. So it feels more like something you got to intentionally take with you for a purpose. It's not just something that becomes part of your day. And I say this not to criticize them, because there's so much good stuff coming up. I absolutely love how these sound, and I will get into that a little bit later, tell you guys the great experience that I had with it. But it's the little things with the build quality that sometimes are frustrating with these earbuds. So I'm going to show you guys now. When you take them out, you put them in your ear. They are comfortable. They fit your ear really well, but I don't know if you can really see, but they're very large. They really stick out from your ear, and they're not like, these don't feel like low key. Like if you were going to go work out in them, whatever, they're black and gold. I mean, for around the house and stuff, it's super cool. And you may be into it on the road. This might be your thing. Like this might, like you want to stand out a little bit, but they physically come out far from your ear and they just feel, large. They don't really, make you blend in. They, like, even some of the earbuds that I've had that have similar style to this, a lot of them are closer to just being flat to your ear. These are very large earbuds in that they go all all the way into your ear canal, although they do have a short nozzle. I'll get into that in a moment. And then the rest of it extends out, and I'm guessing that's because they, you know, in this, and I'm not sure how many earbuds do this, but, and I think this is why these sound so good. These have a dynamic driver that takes care of the bass, and then they have two balanced armature drivers that take care of the high end, which sound-wise is great because it means that the same driver isn't trying to do everything, which can really help it keep track of instrument separation and the sound and a sense of clarity and you know, instrument separation, soundstage, all those things. I feel like it really helps a lot with, but I think it also makes it a large earbud when it goes into your ear. So just for giggles here, let's put in the AirPod Pro 2 or AirPod 2nd gen, and you can see just how much more svelte that is. So if I'm out and about, you see how much more, and plus everybody's just used to the AirPods. So, I mean, this is way more expensive. These are like $250. But if you're concerned at all with the social acceptance of the look of this, you plan on walking around with it a lot, this is a lot more standard. This seems more professional. It's going to be accepted more. It's more, you know, it's way more close to the side. I mean, here you can barely even see it if I'm looking right at you. It's a much different look than what you get with the Soundpeats. So it's just something to keep in mind. It's not the end of the world, but it is something to keep in mind. It's a lot more bulky experience to use the Soundpeats products, the Opera 5, than it is like a pair of AirPods. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the nozzle length of these things. Again, not something that you would immediately notice, but when you look at this, and I've got third-party tips on it, but when you look, it's an extremely short tip. And for me, I have larger ears, I have larger ear canals. So for me, that meant that basically the included ear tips would not create a consistent seal for me. And that's kind of a big deal because that means, like, basically that it's not, if you were to do that, it just means it's not going to sound good. I didn't get good bass, and it starts sounding kind of shrill in the upper mid-range, and that's because I wasn't getting a seal in my ear. I needed to use the SpinFit CP100 Pluses, which are kind of my go-to, and they give a greater surface area. I feel like they're longer than a lot of the ones that are included, and I use the extra large, which also helps. And that helped me to create the seal that I needed, but the nozzle length is not long enough for me to get a good seal. And I'm assuming that their, you know, tuning department, that was all part of it. They thought all that stuff through. But for me, it did not work great out of the box. And I found it to be very shallow. Like if you look at it compared to any other IEMs or any other earbuds that I've ever tried, it's way in the, I don't know if it's the shortest, but it's way on the short side. It's a very aggressively short option. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're like me, you may need to get other ear tips in order to get a good seal with these. They do have a clear left and right marker on them, which is really helpful. So many IEMs, like it's impossible to tell what's on there. They give you some kind of plasticky, you know, built in. It's not even colored. With these, there's a clear left, right. They're in blue and red, so it's really easy to tell which side of the IEM goes on which ear, which for me is just one of those little quality of life things that is really helpful. They can be a little bit confusing to put in at first. Again, they're so large, it kind of takes a while. But essentially what you end up taking out, you put them in, you almost like screw them into your ear, and you'll see the right or left side where it's marked will slide into you know, the front side of your, or the back side of your ear, and you get it in as far as you go, and that's how you get it. But it's not like the AirPod where it feels like there's a way for it and like boom, okay, click, that's where it goes in your ear. It doesn't necessarily feel intuitive, so it may take you a while to get used to the different fit of it and to get it into place where it just becomes habit. But you do get used to it after a while. Another thing that's a little bit weird is initially when you try to take them out, like I couldn't get them out of the container at first. Like it was really hard. I was trying to pick it up with my fingers. It was really strange. Eventually I figured out you basically scoop and slide it to the side, and that gives me what I need in terms of the just getting it in and out fast. You may find if you're trying to pick it up with your fingers that it's a little hard. The magnet's a little bit on the strong side, which is good, but it also means that if you're just trying to grab it with your fingers, it's like almost impossible to get out of there. I would suggest take from the side, use your index finger, kind of scoop it out to the side, and you're good to go. And conversely, when you go to put it back in, it's kind of the same thing. You'll get used to it pretty soon, but essentially you just kind of take it, you put the ear tip on the far side, on the outside, and you basically, if you're doing that, then you'll see, like for me, I've got the right hand in my hand right now. The ear tip will be all the way to the right. Where it has the R in red will be down, and the inside, and it'll just kind of click into place. So it's pretty easy once you get a feel for it. But initially it wasn't. I was putting them in backwards and stuff. But after you play with it for, I'd say, maybe you use it for a day or so, you'll get used to it, and you'll be able to use it perfectly fine without it feeling like a chore every time that you've got to take it in and out. Soundpeats does advertise this with an app as well, which I tried to use. It had like 1 star in the App Store. I tried to download it, and upon installing it, it asks you to create an account and register it, but then it asks for some kind of token or code to log in. I never got anything in my email when I tried to set it up, so I just kind of gave up on it. But theoretically, you could use this app to, I guess they got some different EQ settings that you can use. So in theory, if that works for you, great, I would give that a shot. But for me, I was not able to get the app to work at all. So I can't tell you anything about the app. Okay, I'm going to include some mic tests for you here as well. Spoiler alert, they're not great. You could get by with them in a pinch if you had to take a call, but I would not use these for any business calls where you have to make sure that the quality of it sounds great. So you can get by with it, but it's not wonderful. I'll also include samples of what an AirPods Pro 2 sounds like. And we'll also include a sound sample of how it sounds compared to a wired IEM, which usually is going to sound a lot better than just about any wireless, regardless of price point. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. This is a microphone test of the Opera 5 built-in microphones using the voice recording on the Apple iPhone. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. This is a sound recording using the built-in microphones on the Soundpeats Opera 5. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. This is a microphone test using the AirPods Pro 2 built-in microphones, so we can see how they sound compared to the Soundpeats Opera 5 built-in microphones. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. This is a microphone test of the Tangzu Wan'er built-in microphones. This is a wired IEM, so that we can have a sense for how the microphone sounds compared to a inexpensive but wired microphone. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I did use this purely with an Apple iPhone, so part of the benefit of this earbud is the LDAC that is built into it. I did not get to take advantage of that because I was using this on an iPhone. So you're going to hear my opinion based on AAC as the codec. LDAC in theory is going to give you a much higher bit rate, so it's going to give you more detail. For me, I still really enjoyed it using AAC, so just take that with a grain of salt. You may get a better experience with this if you're using Android. I got a very good experience from the sound of it using Apple, and that'll be what my thoughts are based on. The earbuds have built-in transparency and noise cancellation. I did not find that the noise cancellation worked all that well. Conversely, the transparency worked pretty good. So if you'd like to open it up so you can hear what's happening around you, the transparency is a good option. I would not count on the noise cancellation to really help you out much. It doesn't really do a whole lot, and that's not really what this thing's for. This is really an audiophile value Bluetooth option, and I really think the meat and potatoes of what you get out of this is in the playback of music. The noise cancellation is not one of its strong suits. Hey, as I mentioned before, unlike a lot of earbuds out there, I'm not sure how many have the dual. Well, I know Anchor has a dual driver kind of setup, but anyway, there is a single dynamic driver in here as well as two BAs, and it leads to really good sound quality, and we'll get into that in a little bit. They advertised it with 33 hours of total time. I didn't have the experience. I didn't drain it all the way down, but they also say that you could get about 9 hours of battery life in a single day, and then you've got a lot of rechargeability. For what it's worth, I never ran out of battery in any way, but I didn't use it for more than a few hours at a time. But as far as I can tell, it does give you a good battery life. I did have a weird situation that happened where it just unpaired, or it wouldn't work at all. It wouldn't reconnect, and I had to repair it. Now, that only happened once, and once I got done with that, I haven't had any issues with it since. So I don't know if that's necessarily going to be an issue for you, but just know for me, I did have a single issue with an Apple iPhone of it losing its pair somehow. But once I got that figured out and reconnected it, I haven't had an issue since. So you may not have any kind of problem with that. The controls are pretty straightforward. You can do on the left earbud, you can hold it for 3 seconds, which turns your noise cancellation or transparency on and off. A single tap on the right hand side, single tap on the right hand side gives you volume up, single tap on the left gives you volume down, double tap is pause and play, and then the double tap, I believe, will also give you the ability to pick up a phone call if you want to use it that way. It has an IPX4 rating, which means you can get it is splash resistant, but you don't want to get it like submerged. So basically it just means, say if there was like light rain, something like that, you might be okay. Or, I'm not sure. Just know this isn't for swimming, but it's going to be okay if it gets a little bit of water on it. They advertise a 1.5 or so hour charge. Now, for me, that was not my experience. I put it in for an hour or two, and I only had like a 35% charge with it. It could be the charging station that I was using. You may need a fast charger in order to do that. But just know it's only USB-C for the charging. And that charging for me was not super fast. Now, that being said, it's got plenty of charge in it. So a few hours got me by, and then, just get yourself through your day, and then you can charge it overnight and you'll be good. So that's my thoughts on it, but if you're counting on it having a super fast charging cycle, just know that was not my experience with it. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about sound quality. This is the part that I'm really excited about. This is the part that makes this video worth doing. Soundpeats did send them to me. They didn't say that I had to make a video, anything like that, but they did want me to try them, and this is the reason I'm making it, is that I'm genuinely excited about the sound quality of this earbud. Now, I listened to it. I listened to Apple AirPods Pro 2. I listened to my favorite current budget IEM, which is the Tangzu Wan'er, and I also listened to it against the Ikko OH10 just to give an idea of how well it could hold up. And I genuinely really enjoyed this, even compared to some of the wired IEMs, which is usually not the case. Usually a wireless IEM is not going to be able to hold a candle to something like a wired IEM, even the inexpensive ones. It's kind of like the microphones, where if you want something wireless, it's going to come with inherent downsides in terms of the sound. That's just how it is. The wired stuff sounds better than the wireless. And I still think in general, if you looked at the cost of each, that is the case. But I also think that this comes a lot closer to what you get with wired than anything that I've heard before that is at a reasonable price point. I listened to it against the Apple AirPods Pro 2, and I can tell you I prefer the Soundpeats Opera 5 in a lot of ways. The Apple AirPods, again, it's easier in your pocket, it's easier in the Apple ecosystem. It becomes more like, it becomes the one more thing that you carry with you everywhere you go, and I'll give it that. But in the sense of actual sound quality of music, the Soundpeats sounds better. It gives you a better sense of soundstage. It gives you a better sense of separation. The AirPods have a very kind of closed-in sounding soundstage and a very warm presentation, which is nice. And it's probably, for most people, that's probably going to be the safest way to go. But if you're willing to dive into the audiophile land stuff a little bit, I think you'll actually like the Soundpeats better. It's got, again, the better sense of soundstage. It gives you instrument separation. It gives you nice punchy bass, but also very clear and engaging upper mids, like especially female vocals, are going to sound a lot more distinct and interesting on these than they will with the AirPods. You're talking about a sub $90 pair of earbuds versus a $250 pair from Apple, and I just like the way that it sounds better than I like it on the AirPods Pro 2. It's a better sound. So I wrote down some of the words that came to mind for me. Open, airy, wide, clean, crisp, energetic, impactful in the bass. I mean, it just sounds great. It's like listening to one of the chi-fi wired IEMs, and that's an exciting thought because you're getting a lot of value in wired IEMs. And now you're starting to get that kind of value in the wireless space as well. So that being said, it made me think, well, let's talk about, or let's also listen to one of the best value new chi-fi IEMs, which is the Tangzu Wan'er, which I just did a review on not that long ago. And I love that IEM. That's a wired IEM. It's about $20. But again, usually a $20 wired IEM, especially a Value King, that's a pretty impressive sounding IEM. You compare that to this wireless option, and I'm surprised that I actually like this Soundpeats option a little bit better than I like the Wan'er. It's this gives you a little bit more well-rounded sound, and that it doesn't sound as hot in the treble, so it's a little bit easier to listen to, and it also doesn't feel quite like it has as much bass, so it ends up being still a very interesting listen, but it's not nearly as V sounding to me as the Wan'er does. Now, I really like the Wan'er. It's a really good IEM, but when you put these back to back, I find myself preferring to listen to the Soundpeats option. So for what it's worth, that is not something that I've had happen before, where I was listening to a pair of Bluetooth buds and I thought that it even compared with one of the better options out there in the current chi-fi IEM market. So to me, it's exciting. It's not perfect in every way. It's not perfect in the sense of the build quality, all those things, but just having a Bluetooth option, which is trying to do some of the same things to appeal to audiophiles in the sense of, the detail and the way that it tries to capture your attention with sound separation and instruments and the amount of detail it gives you. And you can tell that they really did tune this for audiophiles, and it shows. And I love it. I'm going to keep mine. I'm going to listen to it. If I just had a pair of something Bluetooth that I had to listen to for music, I would listen to this rather than the AirPods Pro 2. And I think that's a big deal because the Apple earbuds are really nice and they're $250. They're a lot more expensive, and this company has a lot more to throw at it than Soundpeats does. And Soundpeats made a product that just sounds better. So to me, that's a pretty big win for them. I do hope that they continue to work on the little things to get the quality control in there and get a better sense of quality when it comes to the cases and just little things like that. But I feel like if you get the sound down, the rest of that stuff is just little stuff. You can improve, that's just a matter of, improving things manufacturing wise. If you've got the sound, I really feel like they can get the rest of it in line. And some of the big guys have got some stuff to worry about. If these smaller companies are able to figure out the little things that people like me want in order to feel like they're getting a premium product, then all of a sudden there's not really going to be much difference between them and somebody like Apple making, premium products. So I'm excited and interested to see where everything goes. Now, finally, I did listen to these along with the Ikko OH10s, and I'll just tell you, those are still my champs. They sound crisp and clean, and they're able to handle really complicated arrangements like Deliverance by Thomas Bergerson. With a plum, they're just amazing. They do everything great. You can really hear on very complicated and detailed tracks the difference between something like that and these Bluetooth earbuds. But that's to be expected. You're talking about $150, $200 set of IEMs that are wired, versus a sub $80 set of Bluetooth earbuds. And it just makes me excited for where this industry is going to go. I think they did a great job on these. I bet the next ones will be even better. I know they're trying to learn. They're trying to go in that direction. But especially in terms of the tuning and quality of the sound they get out of these, even me just using the AAC codec, I'm very impressed, and I think they made an excellent product. So I hope you found some value in this. If you did, if you could like, comment, subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.